In a world where the line between reality and fantasy fades away, where silence carries a secret, and every whisper tells a story. Welcome to The Whisper of the Narrator. Here, tales are not just told, they are lived. Souls are reborn through words of mystery and magic, where fear, passion, and destiny intertwine. Every story you hear here will awaken something within you. So listen closely. The whisper begins now. Are you ready to listen? Chapter 18. Sasha Fulger. She is your wife. Kaguya repeated what she said in the same tone of voice. That I heard, I said in a surprised tone. I took a deep breath and asked in a neutral tone. What I meant was, what do you mean she's my wife? Well, she is your wife? She spoke with a confused face. Kaguya. I stared at her with a look, telling her to explain what was going on. Kaguya sighed. Normally, as a servant of Lady Violet, I shouldn't be telling you this information. But she bit her lip, and it looked like she was having some difficulty speaking. I start to think of Kaguya's personality. She is a loyal maid who claims to want to be the perfect maid, a maid who does everything for her master's sake. Oh, I get it. She's thinking she's committing a betrayal by talking about something Violet probably forbade. I move closer to her as I try to ignore the temptation to bite the blonde woman's neck who was lying asleep on the bed. I swallowed hard and bit my lip a little. I patted Kaguya's head and said, "Don't worry, just tell me what happened. If Violet says something, you have my support." When I started stroking Kaguya's head, I felt her body tremble a little. And then she shows a small smile on her face. She seems happy about something. Then she says, "I will trust Lord Victor." She spoke in a neutral tone while keeping the smile on her face. Realizing she was going to tell me what's going on, I stop stroking her head. I feel her shiver a little, and suddenly, Kaguya's hand moves at inhuman speed and takes my hand and places it on her head again. She then lifted her face and looked into my red eyes with a blank look. Question marks started appearing around me. I didn't understand what was going on, but when I looked where she was holding my hand, I understood something. She wanted me to stroke her head. Soon, I start stroking her head again, and she displays a satisfied smile. I can't help shaking my head to myself when I see this maid's attitude. She claims to be a perfect and serious maid, but she is surprisingly cute sometimes. Somehow, seeing Kaguya's expression, I managed to calm down. My bloodlust was still screaming like crazy, but now it was on a more manageable scale. Explain what happened, I told Kaguya. Kaguya nods and says, "This woman's name is Sasha Fulger, just like Lady Violet. She is your wife." Soon she starts telling me all the events that Sasha suffered. I listened to everything with a neutral expression as I stroked Kaguya's head. My emotions fluctuated sometimes. When I heard that Sasha was happy, I was happy. But when I heard that Sasha was almost captured by the hunters, I felt a wave of intense anger in my chest. These emotions were foreign to me. I wondered how I could feel Such strong emotions from a woman I just met. But stopping to think, the same thing happened with Violet. I always felt very intense emotions when involving Violet. I look at the blonde maid with murderous intent. But soon, I shake my head several times and start breathing heavily in an attempt to calm myself again. This wasn't my revenge. This was Sasha's revenge. Okay, let's gather the important information. Sasha, who is Violet's childhood friend, was marked as my wife by the ritual that happened a few days ago. She came home and a trap set by the church hunters was waiting for her. On that day, she lost Julia, a maid who was like a mother to Sasha. According to Kaguya, when she went to visit Sasha, she realized she was suffering from bloodlust, and she was very weak from fighting the hunters. Realizing that Sasha might make rash decisions because of her desire for revenge, Kaguya kidnapped Sasha and brought her to me. I understand the general situation. I look at Kaguya. Who is my other wife? Kaguya bites her lip, but she soon sighs again and says, Ruby. Ruby Scarlet. She's Lady Violet's other childhood friend. Ruby. Isn't she the most popular student in med school? Let me remember. Red hair, green eyes, and with an always listless expression on her face. She was called a genius because she always came first in everything she did. She was very popular with the college men. She was called the untouchable red flower. According to the rumors, in the past, she was proposed to by several men, but they were all turned down, and some more insistent men suddenly disappeared from the face of the earth. For some reason, an irritating feeling grew in me when I realized that several men were after her. It was like an obsessive desire. Those... Lord Victor. Suddenly, I hear Kaguya's voice. I wake up from my thoughts and look at Kaguya, realizing that I was falling into the seas of emotions again. I smile a little and say, Thank you, Kaguya. I stroke her head harder. I see she was breathing more erratically, and she had a small smile on her face. She wasn't breathing like Violet. It was something quieter. Nice job, Kaguya. I felt Kaguya's whole body tremble as I said those words, and soon she turns her face away and is looking at the wall as if she found something interesting. Kaguya deserved those words. If she hadn't acted then, Sasha probably would have done something dangerous to herself. Ugh, what happened to me? Suddenly, I hear someone's voice waking up. I look straight ahead and see that Sasha has woken up. Sasha looks around and doesn't seem to recognize the place she woke up. Suddenly, she starts talking in an irritated tone. That maid, she kidnapped me. She was going to continue to say something, but when she noticed my presence, she stopped talking and focused all her attention on me. Sasha's sapphire blue eyes begin to change to blood red. She inhales a large amount of air and slowly begins to release the air that was in her lungs. When she let out the air she breathed in, I could see that the air was much hotter than usual. It even formed a small hot mist when it came out of her mouth. Her face started to turn red, and she started breathing erratically while keeping her red eyes fixed on me. I wasn't in any better shape. My body was hot. My throat was dry. My whole body screamed at me to stop holding back and attack that woman and feast on her blood. Ugh, Lord Victor, you're hurting me, Kaguya spoke in a neutral voice. When Sasha and I heard Kaguya's voice, we both woke up from our stupor. I looked down and realized I was squeezing Kaguya too hard. I also noticed that Kaguya lied by saying she was hurt. I think she told me and Sasha that, to wake up from our world. Sasha, right? I said, stuttering a little. Yes, I'm Sasha. She suddenly spoke out loud as she raised her hand, like she was in elementary school and the teacher had asked her something. Realizing what she had just done, she turns her face to the side and ignores me. I noticed that her whole face was glowing red, and seeing that expression of hers, something seems to pierce my heart, and I can't help commenting in an honest tone. Beautiful. I hear a poof sound, and I see little yellow lightning flashing from Sasha's head, and her face is redder than before. Stop. Don't look at me. She screamed when she spoke the last sentence. Lady Sasha, please calm down, Kaguya said when she willingly walked away from me and approached Sasha. Kaguya, why did you bring me here? I'm not prepared mentally, physically, or emotionally to talk to him right now. She practically screamed with a face red with embarrassment. Kaguya ignores what Sasha said and says, Lady Sasha, you were planning some silly plan like using this maid as bait and trying to capture the man who attacked you, right? Oh, that was also a possibility. Sasha opens her eyes wide. She looked at Kaguya with a face that said, How do you know that? Looks like Kaguya nailed her guess. Soon her face twists into hate. Yes. So is this what you brought me here for? To stop me from taking my revenge? She spoke in a cold tone. Wrong. I brought Lady Sasha here to strengthen herself. Kaguya spoke as she pointed her finger at me. Sasha puts on a confused face. Then she looks at me. I notice her face turning a little red, but she seems to control her expression now. Lady Violet is getting stronger. Every time Lady Violet drinks Victor's blood, she is slowly getting stronger. She's probably stronger than Lady Sasha and Lady Ruby now. Kaguya spoke in a suggestive tone. Do you understand? Violet is a noble vampire at just 21 years old, practically a newborn, and she's getting stronger. She continued to speak in the same suggestive tone. How is this possible? Vampires only get stronger the older they are, or if they train their skills to the fullest, just like Lady Scathach. Sasha spoke with a shocked face as she mentioned a woman I didn't know. Suddenly, Kaguya's face changes to an expression of disdain, and she sighs. Woman, are you deaf? I'm saying Violet is getting stronger by drinking Victor's blood. Sasha and I looked at Kaguya in shock, but then, as if it were all a lie, she came back with her stoic expression and spoke in a suggestive tone. Does Lady Sasha understand what to do? Huh? Sasha was so surprised by Kaguya's sudden change of expression that she didn't hear anything. Tisk, tisk. Kaguya clicked her tongue in annoyance. Suddenly, Kaguya's body turns to darkness, and she disappears into the ground, then appears beside Sasha. She grabs Sasha by the arms and throws her towards me. Instinctively, I opened my arms, and Sasha fell into my arms. "Kaya! What are you doing?" Sasha yelled as she glared at Kaguya. "Kaya!" That was a cute scream. I can't help but comment as I hold Sasha's waist. She was my height, and she smelled really good. I can't help but smell her neck. Kaguya bows in a gesture of respect and says, "Enjoy some time with your husband, Lady Sasha." Soon, she turns and walks towards the bedroom exit. And when she leaves the bedroom, she closes the door. "Huh. Oh." She looked at Kaguya with an incredulous face, but she didn't have time to do much when she suddenly felt me sniffing her neck and holding her waist. I couldn't help it. When she got close to me, I couldn't hold out longer. She turns quickly and looks at me, and when our red eyes meet, we couldn't control ourselves anymore. I see Sasha's teeth change and become sharper. She suddenly pushes me into the wall and tries to bite me, but I don't let her. I throw her to the ground and hold her arms while she wraps her legs around my waist and keeps staring at me with bloodlust. I let go of her arms, and she wraps her arms around my neck. I put my face to her neck, and then I bite her. I also feel her bite my collarbone and start sucking my blood. Suddenly, an explosion of emotions and feelings are directed at me. And just like Violet, her blood was delicious. If Violet's blood was like food made by the most renowned chef in the world, I think Sasha's blood tastes the most natural. It was like I was living on an island in the middle of nowhere. And the boss of that island was a beast that had the most delicious meat in the world. It was a wild taste. It was an addictive taste. As I drank Sasha's blood, I could feel a weakened bond in my body start to get stronger. I could now feel and understand Sasha's whole existence. Her feelings, her thoughts, I could understand them just as I understood Violet. I understood what kind of woman Sasha is. Suddenly, my world turns red. I realize it's the same as Violet, but unlike Violet, I could look around. This place looked like the supermarket I went to in the past when my mom asked me to buy food. "Are you sure?" Sasha asked as she looked at me, who was lying down. I had a huge wound on my arm, like I was being attacked by the claws of a wild animal. "Yes, I will make him my darling." Violet spoke with a loving smile. Sasha suddenly looks away, and I follow her gaze. Soon I see Ruby, a woman with long red hair, a voluptuous body, and green eyes. What do you think about this? No matter what I think, Violet won't change her mind. We should support her. Besides, I already brought the materials for the ritual. Ruby spoke in a neutral tone as she pointed to a black bag that seemed to be full of various items. Sasha nods her head in agreement with Ruby's words. Then she looks at me and says with a bit of pity, "Well, you'd better live like a vampire than become a being who stinks of wet dog." Soon, the vision changes, and I'm in the same building that I was transformed in. Everything happens the same as what I saw in Violet's vision. But now I see what happened after I bit Violet. I looked at Ruby and disappeared. Ruby tried to react and defend herself, but it seems like I was faster. I appear in front of Ruby and pull her into a hug. Then I bite her neck. Ah! Ruby moaned as she wrapped her arms around my neck. Then I see Ruby's gaze turn into a hot and dangerous look. She smiles with a smile full of sharp teeth and bites me. No! Violet yelled in a crazy voice. Violet suddenly looks at Sasha, her eyes glowing red. Run away from here now. Sasha, run, now! Violet uses her speed and approaches me. Appearing beside me, she tries to separate me from Ruby. But it seems I was stronger, and she couldn't separate me from Ruby. Sasha, who was looking at Ruby and me with shocked eyes, looks at Violet, who is trying to separate me from Ruby with a confused face. Huh? I could see she was genuinely confused. Sasha, run! Now! Violet ordered this time, as the atmosphere around her grew heavier and more dangerous. Lightning started to appear around Sasha, and she tried to run away. But suddenly I disappear and appear behind Sasha. I grab her from behind and bite her neck. Ah! Sasha moans while holding my head. Suddenly, Sasha's eyes turn blood red. I stop biting Sasha, and she turns to me with a distorted smile, showing her sharp teeth. She licks my neck with a sensual gesture to clean the blood, and then bit me. I also bite her while hugging her tightly. Bitches! Violet screamed in rage as the atmosphere around her started to heat up. She was very angry. Her face was distorted in rage, and she was biting her lip in frustration. With a gesture of her hand, Violet creates several fireballs around it. Die! Bitches! I stop biting Sasha and look at Violet as I open my mouth to say something. I can't figure out what it is because the world around me has started to fall apart. And so, the whisper fades. But the story never truly ends. Each tale hides within it a new beginning. Perhaps even another life waiting to be told. You've been listening to The Whisper of the Narrator. If this journey touched your soul, don't let it end here. Subscribe, stay, and listen again. For the next whisper will be deeper, darker, and more beautiful.